but I have 2 cubs now, so I'm going to sacrifice one for my wife and one for my child. Woman starts crying. She says, poor mother, she must be looking for her child. She says, you can take one, let me take the other one. I will release it in the forest and will go back. Saying that, she stands up to go near the her cage, that small cage. The hunter stops her. Excuse me, stop being so rude, you are just my guest. Don't tell me what should I do. The woman sits back. She cries and cries. She says, oh, please, think of that mother. Might be her heart is breaking. Please, keep one for yourself and let the other one go. The hunter says, I don't know who you are and I don't care where you come from. I am the best hunter, and why should I worry about the leopardess and her heart breaking? You can come to the ceremony, and if you feel it doesn't suit, you may leave right now. The woman dries up her tears and she asks, so it look like you don't want to change your mind. The hunter says, definitely not. She says, then you have left me with no other option. Seeing that, she gets out of her chair, she bounces at the hunter and finishes his game. She still needs the nimble hands, right? She gets back to the women pose. She brings the cage, smells her cubs. The cubs are not able to identify the mother, but they know that's the smell of their mother, and they nuzzle around her. She holds her cubs close by and she walks out. Crossing the men who were still beating the drums, mothers were still singing the lullaby, and off to the forest. The next morning, the hunter wife holding her baby is coming out singing and dancing. The women have gathered to welcome the hunter so that he can sacrifice the cub now. They sing and dance, but the hunter doesn't come out. The women, the wife of the hunter, opens the door. If you would be there, you would have heard the scream of the wife, which was with so much of grief and terror. But if you were there in the forest, you could have seen that leopardess, those cubs who were back home, who were singing the leopard song and playing that leopard game again. Thank you.
Started off with saying, well, how dare you? I'm very happy to glad with it. Okay, so let's go on. Today we have a table topic session and so now we are coming to the evaluation session, so I'll hand it over to Kevin.
Thank you, Dean. Now we have come to the third session, that's the evaluation session, and this is going to be very good because we had got good speeches, 4 speeches, right? And then what a time to have the evaluation also. We just had the education session on evaluation, and I'm sure many of the evaluators would have got many of the points during the evaluation session. So I would like to call upon. Okay, yeah. Okay, can I call the timer to give this report on, like, is there any disqualifications?
All prepared speakers are qualified. All are qualified.
Okay, thank you. So, can I ask the guests as well as members to vote the best speakers? You have heard all the speakers. So please vote for the best speakers. Well, we can start with the evaluation then. Fine. So the first speaker was Faisal, and his topic was life skills, the blueprint of your life. And I would like to call upon the evaluator for evaluating speech. This person is working as a business development lead in Cognizant, and he's been with Medley for the past 6 months. And he likes stories and messages from Panchakandra. Not the Kamdasan movie, but the story. Okay, you like the movie also. Okay, good. Fine. Toastmaster Nasir.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and special good evening to Faisal. So, looking at Faisal's speech, Faisal, what I really liked about, what I thoroughly enjoyed is your script of life script. Faisal actually chose a content which was relevant, and he was able to connect with the audience. The first thing that he did was he began by asking a question, a searching questions which the audience were able to relate to. Then he kind of built upon his say speech through different layers. He also used very good analogies, like for instance, all the world's the stage, the analogy that he used, Shakespeare's analogy, to say build into the presentation that he was going to give, as to how people, environment, and the choices that they make affects their life scripts. Now coming on to his content was good. There were certain areas which I really liked, but towards the end I feel that the conclusion was a bit abrupt. Probably you could have say elaborated a lot more as to what people can do to overcome or change their script or modify their script. That was one. Another good thing that I like about your script was you used a lot of personal examples. So when you use personal examples, people will be able to relate to it. It will connect with the audience. That is one thing that I like. In terms of delivery, your stage presence was really good. You kept moving, you had eye contact. From a delivery perspective, one thing that I felt could be improved would be your modulation. At times there was monotone, probably dramatizing a bit. All the world's a stage, like for instance when you use the analogy of Shakespeare. That was something which I observed. All in all, it was a good speech which was a lot of which was more like a lot of learning for me. I was able to learn a lot as to how, say, different experiences can shape our thought process, and also, say, the way in which we react to situations. And to summarize, if you can focus on the content part, some of the suggestions which I gave you, like giving an example, you ended the speech abruptly. If you can focus on that, and also in terms of dramatization, in terms of, say, having a vocal variety, right, when you're presenting your speech. That are the only two observations which I have. It was a great speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nasir. One of the points I like is like the red color font that you used that gathers the attention of the team. That is present. The second speech was by Toastmaster Shankar, what do we eat? I would like to call upon the evaluator for that. This person is a marketing executive at a construction company in Sholinuru. Lot of traffic, right? His favorite story is Ramayana and Mahabharata, where the goodness triumphs the evil. Put your hands to welcome Toastmaster Dinesh.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Toastmasters, especially my favorite speaker, Toastmaster Shankar. Before the meeting was started, I met Shankar and I asked him, Shankar, is it going to be slide today as well? He said, no, Dinesh. Because Shankar always uses slides in a very good manner. And today he proved that his speech and his roles are not done good because of his slides, but because of the content within himself. He started off speech with a curiosity about Kumar uncle, someone who was in a small village near Chennai. Everyone wanted to know, who is this Kumar uncle? Then he was an agricultural scientist. He created a curiosity in everyone's mind. His objective of this project was to present a well-rehearsed speech and also a well-researched one. He did it aptly. He spoke about how in foods today, fertilizers and pesticides have created harm to the human body. And I liked this speech very well. And also he mentioned about 2 weeks back how in IITM, the food, he had paint in it spray painted it, and perhaps I should do some because I am the treasurer and I book in IITM. So next time when you book in IITM, I think people will catch me. So thank you, Shankar. And also, there are a few recommendations which I would like to give to Shankar. For example, he uses his closed hands when he gives his speeches. Not only now, even when he was 3 Modi, I always see. Perhaps if he opens his hands better, it would be better. And also, when he's giving his speeches, he says about the food and all the aspects in which it gives us. Maybe you can use the stage presence better by using from one point and then when how it affects us and what can we do to overthrow it. Like for example, washing vegetables and buying vegetables on a regular time, we can move to another place. Maybe that would create a much more impact. But all in all, it was a very, very good project, Shankar. Especially your eye contact was extremely well. You had a vision for everyone in the club, and also the confidence level was extremely high as usual. And at the end, I would like to say that I'm looking forward to your next speeches, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dinesh. I like the wording like the food should be safe at the time of use. Then the third speech by Toastmaster Thomas Abraham and on a bed for the night at Hanover. I'd like to call upon the evaluator. This person is an IT professional in cloud computing and infrastructure management, and his interests are in equity and equity research. He's an avid book reader and dreams to attain financial freedom by 40. Toastmaster, give hands to welcome Toastmaster Kishore.
Good afternoon, everyone. Coming to the Thomas Abraham sir speech, I felt the way we both evaluators, like myself and Ashwin, were confusing in the room. And I felt almost the same experience Sir had when he was there at Hanover. Sir, I like three aspects of your speech. Number one, the body language, which is the very essence of the objective of this speech. Intentional and unintentional body language, and communicating your message with non-verbal body language. So considering this is, I have seen you as a speaker. So today I have seen a transformation, complete transformation. The way you use your body language, I have seen it elated at three different stages. One is when you are dragging your luggage bags. So that is one thing which was completely unexpected. And when you are showing your both the pockets like it was empty, so on and so forth. There were so many aspects. There were so many spots in your speech wherein you have emphasized many of the things with your body language. I really like that particular piece. The second one was the gestures. The way you have narrated your story with your right hand gestures and looking at each one of us and not leaving any corner of this room idle. So that is the second piece which I really liked from your speech. And the third, and this is the best highlight of this particular thing, is story. I like the way you included the emotion while you were emoting on the stage, and also the humility and humor, like while you are narrating your painful situation, like you wanted to take a room in YMCA, but you really realized that you did not have the membership. So these were the three highlights of your speech: body language, gestures, and the story, with emotion and humor being part of it. Coming to the recommendation side of it, the only observation I had when I was listening to your whole speech was absolutely related to the landing. I was at a peak when you were there in front of the Miss Feldman and you were enjoying the room, and I was still thinking, I still had a thought connected to your Monday, like 3 days ahead. So suddenly you handed it over. So this is the only small piece I felt like the disconnection, like as an audience, I was sitting in this room at a very peak. You took me to a peak and you just dropped me directly into a TMOD's hand. So that is the only small observation I had in the overall speech. Other than that, it was a fantabulous speech, and I have seen a transformational Thomas Abraham on the stage today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster. The last speech was by Toastmaster Priyadarshini on coming home. I would like to call upon the evaluator for this. This person has a passion for public speaking and joined Toastmasters in 2010. And this person's favorite story is the Mayor of Castlebridge by Thomas Hardy. Put your hands to welcome Dr.
General Evaluator, members of MERGI, good evening. There are few speeches we hear, and it goes right here. There are very few speeches we hear, and it goes just right here. And today, Priyadarshini, your speech fell in the second category. What an amazing speech it was. There are few things that I absolutely loved in your speech. You evoked emotions beautifully, directly and indirectly. Directly through your characterization, dialogue, and the overall tone. Your characterizations were very limited in the story, yet very distinctive. The hunter, the cubs, the leopardess, and the hunter's wife. Very limited characters, yet very distinctive characters. You had beautiful dialogues to be delivered today in the story, but added more drama to the story. Your dialogues between the hunters and the cat-eyed woman were brief, and it emoted two different perspectives, one of a mother and one of a hunter. The one who wanted to kill, the one who wanted to save. Beautiful, beautiful dialogue delivery that emoted two different perspectives in the story. And the overall tone. Your overall tone of the story was smooth, and it was going well with the story that you had to deliver today. Beautifully done directly. Indirectly, you had so much to deliver today through the reactions of your characters. For instance, her heart leapt out of her heart. Her chest leapt out of the chest. The elegant walk, the cat-eyed woman, the way the hunter's wife cried. The way you described all of this actually brought out the emotion, and I could vividly see that right in front of my eyes. Finally, the conflict. When we thought the hunter will kill the cubs and everything will come to a very drastic ending, there came the cat-eyed woman with a different story ending altogether. A brilliant conflict in place. Now, having said about how well you emoted directly and indirectly, I think now is the time to take this speech to the next level. My recommendation to you today is, for such an amazing speech, I wish you had used the holograms effectively. That is, to use the stage and set the stage in place for every scene. The hunter's house is here, or probably the jungle is here. Here's where you started. The jungle is always here, the cubs are playing here. The hunter comes from here. The dialogue between the hunter is always on this side of the stage. The woman is always on this side of the stage. The hunter's wife comes from here. Set the stage according to the scene. It gives us a clear picture of how you want it to be dramatized. Yeah? Set the stage clearly. And when you want to take positions for the dialogues, take positions clearly. The hunter is here, the woman is here. Take their positions correctly. And that will add more drama to such an amazing story you have to deliver today. In summary, Priyadarshini, you are an amazing storyteller who knows how to evoke emotions through direct and indirect communications. If you could incorporate the holograms in place, I'm sure this is one such story to celebrate. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijayalakshmi. So with this, we have come to the end of the evaluation session, but from the evaluators. So I would like to call upon Toastmaster Karan to tell about like the timers report, how would
Just summarize. First, the qualified evaluators, actually all evaluators qualify. So it should be fine, everyone qualify within the time. So yeah.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Fine, now you have got the ballot sheets with you. Can you please vote for the best evaluator? So we have 4 evaluators. Can I call upon a name so that you can know like 4 evaluators? First was Toastmaster Narasimha. Second was Toastmaster Dinesh. Third was Toastmaster Kishore. Yeah. The fourth was Toastmaster Vijayalakshmi. Next is the outcomes report.
Speech was everything is very good. I saw pictures, all clear speech, no fillers, no fuss, no repetition. And evaluators, Narasimhan's like a clear speech, and TM Dinesh, one fuss, one filler, and no repetition. And T.M. Krishna Kishore, clear speech, and T.M. clear speech.
Next one is Toastmaster Karan. Can you please provide your timers report for speakers?
Just give the timings for. Okay. Faisal went. Okay. Just go with each speaker. Faisal went 7 minutes 25 seconds. Shaka went 6 minutes 2 seconds. Thomas Abraham went 6 minutes 40 seconds. Priyadarshini 8 minutes 25 seconds. And the evaluators. Should I give the evaluators? Yeah. Sorry. Nasman went 2 minutes 43 seconds. Dinesh went 2 minutes 10 seconds. Krishna 2 minutes 46 seconds. Pujita went 3 minutes 8 seconds.
Thank you, Toastmaster. So the next one is the grammarian's report. And then can I ask Toastmaster Pranav to provide it?
Thank you, G. So as a grammarian, it was a great session for me. We had some wonderful speeches from great speakers. So starting with the speakers, Toastmaster Faisal used phrases like curtain rises and falls, so Robera, benevolent, with some nice words. Toastmaster Thomas Abraham used various phrases like raised against the setting sun, hot under my collar, which was all very interesting. Toastmaster Priyadarshini used heart left out of the chest, nimble hand, also gracious. So these were some very good words and phrases from the speakers. Coming to the evaluators, Toastmaster Narasimhan, he started by saying your speech through different layers, also monotone. And Toastmaster Krishna Kishore also used words like fantabulous. And lastly, DTM Vijayalakshmi used